As far as I know, usually like most guys, they have that like one period or that one time during the day during high school where like they can pretty much like it was pretty common that they would go and get like an unwanted stiffy.
This is crazy to me. I can't even understand this.
Do you actually
Okay,
talk
first
to
of all,
guys? Do you actually talk to people ever or what?
I it may come as a surprise, but more often than not, I don't talk to guys about how often they got erections in high school. Is that surprising to anybody? I don't go up to, hey Kyle, it's good to see you again. Thanks for inviting me over. So, did you get regular erections while you were in high school at a regular hour, or was that uncomfortable for you? Actually, that I'll say, not only almost never comes up, but literally has never come up before this conversation now.
I don't know, man. I'm surprised. It's just one of those things where it's just like, God damn it. You either see it on a show or you'd see it somewhere or you saw like read a story about it. Like some kid that got like ended up like walking around or getting called up to the front of the chalkboard. Like I've seen that in movies or TV shows numerous times where they're
Absolutely.
like in a very uncomfortable situation where they got a stiffy and they got to walk up and deal with something. At least with my friends, at least with like Justin and other people I hang out with, be like, dude, yeah, it was like for me, that happened to me like second period in fucking high school. It was terrible. Like, oh yeah, it was fucking like clockwork. You could do all over the place. And so it's like the thing is that you're also uncomfortable for the longest time you were uncomfortable even talking about like poop and shit like that. So like taking a dump. Taking a dump made you very, very uncomfortable. Just me saying that, like, dude, I just took a dump. You're like, I don't want to hear about that. Just shut up, and you just seize up and pretend like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this.
All right, two things to be clear. About the dump thing, I still don't like talking about poop.
Oh, I know.
I don't. I don't think it's necessary.
It's not as bad. You're not as bad as you used to be, though. You used to be like a little girl that would run out of the room at the slightest, bringing up that topic.
Yeah, someone mentions their anus and I la 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 la.
I want to pretend like we're not talking about this at all. Let's change the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I may have a similar reaction now, but
Ryan, he'll be like, dude, I took the biggest fucking dump today. Oh my god. I walked in there and I'll be like, oh man, I took a dump and then, our other roommates, they walked out in there, they had to turn on the fan, they had ran out of there. It was great. Like, we'll have conversations like that. We'll laugh our asses off. And you're like, I want to pretend like there's no such thing as taking a dump.
Well, yes. I mean, I just think there's some things that people don't want to talk about. And for me, poop is not something that is an interesting topic to me.
So you say it like poop. You say it like taking a dump. I think it's because you've lived mostly your entire life like around girls.
That's true. I was raised by a relatively single mom. I've had 2 stepfathers now, and my grandmother, and I have 2 sisters. So I mean, I can't flaw your logic.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I know up to like a certain point in my life, maybe about like 14 or 15 or so, I would have been in the exact same boat as you, and there was like a small portion of time where I felt the same, and I was also grossed out by it. And then, just with a certain group of friends going and hanging out, and that's what you talk about, and it wasn't a big deal, and you just sort of like, you just kind of go with the flow of it. Are
you trying to say that I never had any friends growing up?
No, I'm saying you probably didn't have the right group of friends.
Oh, because I didn't have any friends growing up. I actually literally didn't have any friends.
Well, I also know from basic conversations that we've had before, when you're talking about how you haven't actually had a good group of friends until we sort of came into your life.
Well, I don't think anybody has a good group of friends like what we have, but that's semi beside the point. Even if
are you trying to say that we're the most specialist group of friends ever? The connection that you and I have is the most miraculous thing that could ever possibly happen. That we should just
I think that
caution to the wind and get married right now. Is that what's going on?
I think that if late 20s, 30s, or even later in life, if we described our group of friends to anybody in that age range or older, they would be semi or fully envious of it, or they would act like they didn't care.
Wow.
I think we're crazy active friends for being the age we are and for being the amount of people that we are, to hang out in groups of 10 and 12 and 18 people getting together to go drink wine and be at a piano bar or something like that. I think it's especially when you grow older in age. When you're in high school, you might be able to get 18 people together to do something that you want to do. But when you're outside of high school, it gets harder and harder to get a big group of people together. And we consistently get that sort of group together. And I think that, yeah, that is something to be envious of. Bitches.
It still doesn't go on, dissuade me from the point that I was having before, which is about you being in high school and not having a good buddies or someone to kind of break you out of that shell, as well as being around, sisters and girls that, pretty much you can't have that type of conversation topic with, which is fine. There's nothing saying that having the fact that you can't sit around and talk about poop without cringing is a bad thing. Like, that's certainly not like one of those things like, wow, you're a fucked up individual. I can't believe you, that word makes you cringe. Like, I think it makes most people cringe. But based on the other conversations that we have on almost a daily basis, I'm surprised that still phases you the way that it does. I think that's a better way of putting it.
I agree. I don't think that there's people out there that are like, yeah, Farsight's okay, but when I talk about poop, he gets all fucking weird. So
yeah, I don't know if I can be around that. At this point in my life, I feel like I can go and I can do better than that. There's no reason for me to have to put up with someone who's not able to expand his horizons and sit around and talk about time to drink.
There's plenty. Me first?
Yeah, you go for it.
All right, let's do this.
It's kind of interesting. I was not expecting our conversation topic to go this route at all. I was actually, I'm going and looking at my list of things to talk about, and I'm surprised that we're actually on beer number 4. And we haven't actually done any of the stuff we were planning on talking about in any way, shape, or form. At least some of the things that I wanted to get to, based on just talking about erections and poop.
But you're telling me that erections and shit isn't on your list?
Me getting an erection in high school wasn't on my list. That certainly wasn't like, hey, I want to talk to Leo, also known as Lance, about the erections that I used to get in high school and how much fun that would be to talk about, and whether or not he had the same situation, because he has always a giant problem talking about poop, so he's probably going to want to talk about how he'd get erections randomly in high school and how awkward that made him and how fucking weird that was. Are you playing with handcuffs over there?
Oh no, I actually pulled Velcro. You want to hear it? No,
it sounds like fucking handcuffs.
I'll put it down. For the listening audience, it absolutely is handcuffs. I just handcuffed myself to a prostitute,
nice.
And we're gonna see how the rest of this night goes.
Are they fuzzy? Fuzzy handcuffs are the only way to go.
I'm a fucking man.
So fuzzy? It would be purple fuzzy?
It would actually, yeah. It's black and fuzzy.
Oh my god! It's like pubes.
It would actually be hilarious if. Okay, one thing. if you had handcuffs and they were covered in male pubes, would you be even more of a man, or would that be fucking gay?
Why would they be male pubes? Why can't they be female pubes? Girls they shave that shit all the time. They have more pubes that are available than, usually guys do.
That was a test.
Fuck you, that was a test. You just didn't think of it. You didn't think of that at all, did you? You said that, you went, why the fuck did I say male pubes? Why did I say female pubes? What the fuck? I know the way your brain thinks. You're fucking terrible at this.
But I would also like to see your list afterwards, and then actually asking me about getting an erection, a timed erection in high school was on your list, and you're just like fronting like it's not.
Hey man, this is completely. You're the one that was surprised that we've never actually I thought that was pretty common. I thought you'd at least had that conversation with someone or another. I had no idea whatsoever that was like completely new territory for you.
Yeah.
I wish Steve was here because he'd
never...
probably have an interesting time chiming in with that conversation.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't have a penis until I was in high school, so... But it actually started up really fast. Like, it was a new model. It was like an iPhone 5S.
It made up for lost times, right?
Yeah. It was like launch sequence T-10 launch. Yeah.
All right, well, I certainly wasn't expecting that to happen in that way. Like, oh my god, you actually got an erection in high school and it was unwanted? Oh my god.
I would imagine that if we had the same conversation with Steve, he would actually say, wait, you only had timed erections? I had fucking timed orgasms. It was crazy. Every time Miss Johnson talked about...
Who is this Miss Johnson? That's like the third time you said that name.
Oh, I actually changed the name.
No, it was Miss Johnson before.
Was it?
Yeah.
Stevenson?
Stevenson? Johnson?
Something like that. Stevens. I used Johnson because I was trying to think of a dick name.
Oh, okay. So. Miss Dick. Why don't we just call her Miss Dick?
Yeah.
Miss fully erected
penis.
Miss fully erectile dysfunction.
Miss ED.
Hey, it's Miss ED! Yay! Her husband can't get it up.
Call her Miss Ed.
I need to finish my beer. So
okay,
you go. You go.
Okay, so it turns out that not only did fillers not go by his list, but he ended up mentioning erections. High school erections, which is something that I
not familiar with.
I literally have no experience with, because
you had no erections in high school. What are you talking about?
I can't say that I had no erections in high school, but as far as my recollection goes,
I like that you said recollection like you said erection. your erection goes. As far as my erection goes,
yeah. I was gonna have. Well, it took so long for us to start up this cast that I was about to take a beer before I started this process, and now I'm glad I didn't, because this wide-mouthed glass is heavy-handing me. So
you ready to get some difficulty, okay. Huh?
I'm gonna finish mine.
Oh fuck! Oh man, I was about to finish mine. All right, sounds good. Go for it.
All right, that one's done. Start.
You know that one? The timer's been going, dude.
After you're
I start the timer as soon as it goes. So we have a total of 6 minutes left. 5:50.
Wow, that seems inappropriate because a good portion of the time is taken up by us finishing.
You don't understand.
Making that happen.
Most of the time we do a podcast, we have drinking involved. The hour-long podcast turns into an hour and 40 minutes. Okay, just letting you know that usually turns into an hour and 40 minutes, and I want to eat before midnight. Okay.
Finish yours because I have to mention something. So I have my new puppy, which I think I've mentioned before. Her name is Diva because I thought it was ironic, and thus far, it's still ironic. She's not a diva in practice, just in name thus far. But, so, my girlfriend, she gives me an old shirt of hers, and I'm consistently complaining about the age appropriateness and the appeal of such garments, and she consistently pulls out weird, fucked up shit that this one is off-white, old, long-sleeved, has penguins on it, and I think maybe polar bears. She's 29. She's my age. These are not clothes that you should be wearing. So that being the preface of this, I end up pulling around my young puppy. She's 3.5 months old. I end up pulling around her most of the day, and she doesn't pee or poop. Yes, I'm talking about waste.
Wow, gross.
Yeah, she doesn't pee or poop all day. And then I get out of work, and I put her in my car, and she almost immediately pees. Almost immediately pees in my car on my passenger side seat. So a bevy.
Because that's a comfort place. That's a comfortable location for her to excrete waste.
That's where I pee. I start driving and I fucking let loose.
She was trying to coincide with you, you know?
like father,
like daughter. Yeah, exactly, right there.
It is a female dog. That bitch, she went ahead and she fucking peed in my passenger side seat almost immediately after I started driving. And I'm conflicted with a bunch of emotions. And the first is, what the fuck are you doing peeing in my passenger side seat? The second is...
That leather's really comfortable. Come on, man. You have to admit that.
Yeah. The second is... Yeah, well, my girlfriend is never going to wear that shirt again, so go you, right? Like, that thing is going to the trash. It's not going in the laundry. And then right after that, I'm thinking, but you're peeing on my fucking seat. And then right after that, I'm thinking, but you're peeing. So, and you're a fucking puppy. So, a bunch of like 5 series of emotions goes through my head. I'm still upset with her because I had to pull over my car and try and make it so that her pee didn't sink into my car completely. But at the same time, I'm trying to think that it's soaked in enough to the shirt that shirt will no longer exist. And that actually leads to another point, which is, I think that if my girlfriend keeps giving me her horrendous fucking wardrobe, that I kind of want my dog to pee on it so that it goes away, right?
You could always wash it.
She won't. There's no chance once dog urine touches her clothes that she is going to wash it and re-wear it.
Oh, come on. Well, she's never pooped in her clothes before. Come on now.
I'm getting excited just at the prospect of you think, like, there's zero chance that she will ever wear again something that a dog has peed on.
Oh, I'm sure, but at the same time, I can still play devil's advocate and be like, hey, come on, she can just wash that shit. Come on, she's had that for such a long time. You know how old and drab that thing is. I mean, you just run that through the wash a couple of times, especially with the with the rate that she washes clothes, which is like what, 3 times a week or some shit like that.
Urine is sterile. It doesn't. It wouldn't even matter. I could pee on it.
You could pee on it. You could actually go and wring out that tasty old, brown drab, old as hell with long sleeve shirt, bullshit into the glass you're drinking right now into your Asahi. Oh man, imagine how dry that would be. You could actually drink that shit up right now. Like, it ain't no thing.
It brings up another point, which is everything that I don't like in her wardrobe, I could just pee on, and then it's over. That stuff is gone.
Well, you could actually train your dog, into peeing onto things that you don't like. And so therefore, like, when I come on over and hang out, all of a sudden she starts peeing on me. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. You're trying to get rid of me, aren't you?
That's hilarious. I was just about to say that.
If you could train your dog to pee on things you don't like, that would be a very awesome weapon. You're like, hey, look. Hey, my stepdad came on over. It's time for you to start peeing all over this shit. I can see that being a very wonderful weapon for you. Like, he just jumps up into his lap, he's sitting down there, and he's talking about like DJing or some shit like that, and all of a sudden he just unloads all over him. You're like, you're gonna get a big, huge, giant treat later. I love you.
It gets more and more obvious when I give her a treat afterwards.
All right, it's time to drink.
Good girl. Good girl.
Well, look at what you did. You peed all over my stepdad. Here's a big, giant treat. The biggest treat you've ever seen in your entire life. All right, start drinking.
Oh, shit. All right.
It's happening. The time for you to drink is now. That'd be a very interesting thing, because then you have to train your dog on exactly the things that you like, you don't like, and so if you actually imagine you actually having like an old shirt you actually liked, but you trained her to the point where she just went and pissed all over anything that was even slightly off color, and then she would just go fucking like ape shit insane on it. You train it to not even just pee on it, like defecate, rip it apart, and all sorts of horrendous, terrible things, and it's like your favorite shirt in the world.
Okay, go ahead and drink. I drank like a third of mine. That actually brings up an interesting point, because you can train a dog to do a lot of things. I bet you could train a dog to like pee on a certain color or a certain pattern or something. So every time she sees plaid, she'll want to pee, or anytime she sees yellow, she'll want to pee, or he or she. I just happen to have a female dog, my second female dog, by the way, because I don't know. I'm maybe subconsciously I like to think that I can call something a bitch and be accurate.
I mean, not be like a terrible person by calling something a bitch?
Yeah, like you. I don't want to be like you. I want it to be accurate.
Oh. You see, you could also just call it a dog. You're not forced to call it a bitch.
A poopy.
A poopy. Call it a poopy. Actually, it would probably be a better thing for you to do is actually to train it that whenever you actually gave it a certain hand signal or a certain something or other, that's when it decided to pee/poop/shred. And that
Holy
way,
shit. That is a brilliant idea. I think that. Oh man, I should start.
Training
this now
goes to a new level.
Yeah, I should start this now because I think that she's 3.5 months old. I don't think that she's 3.5 months old. I'm pretty sure she's 3.5 months old. But I think that now is the time. If I were to give her a certain, like, rub my nose on the right side, like a fucking major league coach or some shit, that I could coach her into, now's the time to pee, now's the time to shred, now's the time to bark. I think... Oh, I don't think there's anyone that I've ever heard of that has little hand signals that would make a dog do something. I think a lot of it is, well, I guess hand signals, but not minute.
You have to call to get its attention, and then once you have its attention, you can do a gesture of some type, and that will signal it. And then as long as you do that enough times and then treat it, in the long run, that it should actually work out pretty well. As long as the dog actually has to like pee or poop, you actually might be able to go and get it to the point where it'll hold it in until you actually give it that signal.
That would be fantastic. But then, if you make them,
that's not even a little poop. That's a lot of poop.
If you make those movements too mundane, then almost anybody could just do a movement and then she'll just shit. like someone will be waving goodbye and then she'll just shit.
No, I'm pretty sure you do it as a better gesture than that.
Right, but the symbolism is the same. I mean, they could scratch their nose and then she would.
Oh well, you got to train her that it's only you that can do it. So you have to go and try to make it so like your girlfriend tries to do it and it doesn't. Then you beat her for it fiercely, and then when you do it, you give her a giant treat, and then you have your girlfriend do it again. And then you beat her severely for it if she actually does it. And then she'll learn only when you do it is the okay time. And the other time she'll just start shivering in her fucking knickers while she's trying to go and fucking shit all over the place but can't because someone else gave that gesture. And then her ass is just like about to explode. And it's puckering to the point that it's like about to, there's just a lot of crap going on right down there.
That's how I train my sisters, actually. Like, every time they do something that I don't signal, I just beat the shit out of them. So
I can see that working.
Your theory isn't flawed. I think that if it works in humans, it can definitely work in dogs. And my dog is eager to please, hence her licking my balls right now.
Oh, well, I mean, you cheated with all that peanut butter, so come on now. Why do you always have... You know what? You're allergic to peanut butter, but you always have a giant fucking case of it. What the hell's going on with you, man?
I suspect one thing that this actually, like, segues into. I suspect that... Oh, rain. Can you hear rain in yours?
Yes.
That's pleasant.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, we should go downstairs and show our viewing audience what the downstairs looks like.
I can just move my mouse. It works out great. It's not ready yet. I spent numerous times on it. It's not ready yet.
I always wanted to say that, though. We can show the viewing audience what the downstairs looks like.
Oh, well, you can still say it.
But what was I on to just then?
Talking about your sisters and training them?
I lost my train of thought.
Sisters and training them. But anyways, I wanted to go back. Actually, I already had a question forming in my mind. As I'm still drinking this, and this is getting progressively more difficult, I'll tell you that right now. But, so your youngest sister, is she still talking to you, or what?
So, she is now talking to me because
let's give people a little bit of backstory.
Anybody that's listened to our podcast before, our beautiful radio show, somethingradio.net,
let's pretend like no one has
found out that my sister decided that since I didn't like her boyfriend and expressed that thoroughly, that she would not talk to me to the point like we'd be in the same room and she wouldn't laugh at funny shit that I said. So
that's strong. Why don't we?
I say some.
Why don't you give him
really
a taste
shit
of what we found him doing on what was it, Easter Sunday?
Well, I mean,
just giving people an idea of like you're not being like absurd because that was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, I'm not being obligatory. I'm not creating instances in saying that. It was Mother's Day, I believe.
Oh, it was Mother's Day? Oh, that's right. It was even more absurd than that. It was it was like the worst time ever for that to fucking happen.
Shit. I mean, some would say it's even more appropriate to be Mother's Day.
Oh.
But it turns out that
your sister will always be like 12. Come on, man.
We're assembling swings and shit in her backyard, and
it's an old person swing set for her grandma. Like he was assembling it for his grandma. It was like an old swing set because she has one, and they wanted to give her a new one, because she likes swinging on it, and she's old as shit. So we're going to constructing for it. We're constructing a swing set for an older lady because they love her to death, and they wanted to give her something, something that she loves, a new version of it, something that would probably not fall apart any given day.
Right, old as shit, being that she's probably like 80, and
old as shit.
A swing set being like one of those things that you sit on and it swings a little bit, not like a playground swing set. But we're assembling this, and my sister's boyfriend is there, as well as my sister. I really have to adjust my settings because there's a crazy amount of music going on.
I don't hear it at all.
Back to game. Okay. So it's really distracting. So we end up being there all together. My family's there. My uncles, they're like offspring and shit. And we're assembling the shit. And then my niece, my cousin's daughter, she's... How old is she at that point? 6?
4? No. Oh, she was
4?
6. She was really fucking young.
I'm getting the lean of 4. So she's like 4, and her father says, "Hey, anybody want to take care of this?" And on the ground, in the middle of 7 or 8 relatives and whatever, is what my cousin is calling a bubblegum wrapper, which some people may have heard before, but there's a fucking condom lying on the ground.
A pink condom.
Yeah, like a I'm an asshole who likes pussy condom. It's not like, regular Trojan strength for her pleasure. It's nothing like that. It's a fucking watermelon flavored condom. It's an asshole condom, and it's lying on the ground, and he's telling his daughter to not touch it because it's someone else's bubblegum or some shit. And
totally be like, no, don't touch it, don't touch that thing. I don't know where that's been. Oh my god, there might be more.
The grown-ups in the crowd, everyone over 25, is looking at each other going,
holy shit.
There's no way that it's mine. And
I was actually more thinking along the lines, is this actually happening? Really? Did that really just happen? Is we're really finding a condom wrapper in the middle, as well as a 4-year-old / whatever, 4, 5, 6-year-old picking it up and is like, bubble gum. Like,
right.
Really?
And like most things, I think that after the fact, all of the information would have put itself together to lean towards the result that we had, which was, this is my younger sister's boyfriend's condom. I think it would have eventually,
Well,
like,